Hello, hello, hello. DeMarca Management LLC brings you another segment of BTI TV, Business, Technology, and Innovation. I'm your host, Aquila, and like I like to say, it's showtime. So tonight we're going to talk to a programmer. My guest tonight. I'm going to bring him in to let him introduce himself, but he develops apps and websites. You guys will get a chance to talk to him, ask questions, and also you get a chance to call in. So let's get ready. Hello, hello, hello. How are you? How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So introduce yourself and let them know exactly what it is that you do.
Okay, so I'm Arif Jordan, CEO and founder of Black Programming LLC. So what I do is front end, back end web development, also app creation for like your smartphones, your iOS, your Android devices.
Okay, so let's just get started with this. I want this to be very informative, so just give it to me. So how did you get started with this?
So let's see. This had to be like around 97, 98. My aunt had brought a computer over, right? So I've always been inquisitive. So I jumped on it like to try and find out the inner workings. To this day, my mom even jokes about how anytime we'd have computers in the house, I destroy them. But again, I'm inquisitive. I like to see how they work, you know. So shortly after, like around my high school years, MySpace was a thing.
Okay.
So layouts, I did a lot of those. I picked up self-taught, HTML, CSS to figure out like how that all worked, and fell in love with it from then onward.
Okay, so you mentioned self-taught. So do you think to do this type of work that someone has to go to college to learn it, or can they just do it on their own?
Depends on the person and how receptive you are to learning. Everyone has different learning styles, different methods. So college may very well work for some people. Others may have a difficult time with that and would prefer to go the self-taught route.
Okay.
But it's possible either way, to be honest.
Okay, so just so I heard you correctly, you were self-taught with all of this.
Correct.
Okay, so let's test your knowledge. Let's test your knowledge. Okay, so what is the process that you will go through for developing an app?
So I first meet with the client, and we sort of do a storyboard. All right. So the goal, the objective is to bring their dream to fruition. So we find out what exactly it is that they're expecting for that product to offer. And we go from there with figuring out the layout, all the inner workings, what type of functionality, etc.
What's the hardest part about doing that?
Believe it or not, you would think it's the actual programming of the product, but the hardest part is that initial consultation that you get into with what their idea is, you know, because it may seem simple, all right? Excuse me.
It's okay.
It may seem simple, but then we get into the inner workings, right? And, you know, problems may arise, but we work through them.
So what is the difference, or is there a difference between doing an app and doing a website as far as the configuration and everything, as far as building it? Is there a difference?
No, your initial setup is like roughly the same. You may use different languages, right? So like if we're talking iPhone, right? If someone wants an app for iPhone, right? For that, I'm going to use Swift, right? That's the programming language for Apple, right? Versus a website, like you just rely on strictly HTML, your CSS, maybe some JavaScript.
So for the people that don't, like me personally, that don't understand what HTML stands for, what does it stand for?
It's hypertext markup language. So basically it provides instruction to your web browser. So like a perfect example, we're using a web browser now, right? So it's relying on HTML that's coded in so that its structure is set. And then your CSS is the styling of said website.
Okay. So it's a lot that I don't know about computers, so this is why I'm asking you these different things. So there are different types of scripts that you use when you're doing the apps or doing the websites. Explain to us what the script is and which one do you actually use?
So tough one, because you'll use different scripts, but to try and paint a picture, it's instructions that you're giving to the computer, right? Because it doesn't speak our language, like we can't write, hey, I want you to do this in English. It has to be something that a compiler is going to understand. So that's what your script is, or your language rather, your programming language. It provides a mean for you to accomplish what it is you're trying to accomplish through the use of computers.
So there's various scripts that I understand. So does it really matter which one that you use, or is it dependent upon what program that you're using? That's what dictates what script that you use?
So it depends on what it is you're trying to accomplish. Like put it that way. All right, so you could use various different scripts.
Which one do you prefer?
I like JavaScript. The functionality, it ties into a lot of APIs. So like things like your Facebook, your Instagram, Snapchat, like you can tie into documentation that the developers who created those apps used. You can tie that into maybe a new project you're working on, like the next Snapchat. You can piggyback off of what already exists.
So when you were, Carol says it sounds confusing.
It's easier than it is once you learn it, of course.
So my question is, when you are designing all of these apps and websites, how do you make sure that they are, compatible to like Facebook, YouTube, or any other type of website?
You test again, like just constantly testing your code to make sure it's functional, right? So you set it up in like a practice environment, if you will, to make sure it's doing what you intended to do.
Okay. So when you say that you're setting it up into a testing environment, what type of testing are you going through to do this?
So we use what's called IDEs, right? So it's basically an environment. Think of it like a sandbox, right?
Okay.
So you're setting it up and your code's only allowed to play in that area, right? Until you get it right. Then you test in a live environment.
Okay. Oh, okay. So it makes sense. I mean, it's confusing because I'm not really computer savvy like that, but it sounds interesting. So is there money in programming?
Yes. Yes, very much so.
Explain.
Silicon Valley is a perfect example. Like the people who come out of college, or they come out of a boot camp they may have taken part in, or they were self-taught and picked up experience along the way. It's very easy when you have the experience, the drive, the know-how to land a job in, say, Silicon Valley. It's easy to do it for yourself if the entrepreneurial route is what you prefer.
Okay. So to do this business, would you suggest that someone go out and do it on their own, or is it better to work within a company?
Depends on the personality, I guess, of the individual. Some people prefer to work as a team, like as a member of a team. Some people prefer, to do it the solo route. It depends, but it's beneficial either way.
Okay. So what is your promotion and marketing strategy for your business?
Well, prior to COVID, I was like a very in-your-face type of person. So a lot of networking in person. Now, not so much. It's you advertise on other social media platforms like your Instagram, your Facebook, because people. Speaking of COVID, actually, a lot of people started businesses throughout this time. You have all the time in the world. You're not working.
Sure,
So
sure.
like, hey, why not start a side biz? And sorry, lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
But yeah, people who like have needs like that, you help facilitate those needs.
Okay, so in this day and age, the business world that we have now, is it very important to have websites and apps and stuff for your business?
Very much so. Very much so. I have a feeling like even after COVID passes, there's still going to be that reliance on technology. You know.
So do you have anything that you can show us, or is something?
I do. I have actually I just finished a site 2 days ago.
Okay.
For my mom actually, who sells jewelry. I put together her site. That's carolsgemsandthings.com.
Yeah, I just saw that site. That site is really, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
There's really nice pieces on it also. I just saw that.
Yeah, and then there's even like mine, the like my actual website, blackprogramming.com.
Yes, I went to that too.
Right. So clean look, real simple, but a lot of hard work went in behind it.
Well, I'm quite sure it did, because when I looked at this site, I was like, wow, this is a great site.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this. So I wanna make this like simple so everybody can understand this right here. So walk me through this process. If I was to reach out to you and say to you that I wanted to build, let's say, an app for BTI TV, let's go through the steps of building this app.
Okay. So you and I meet, right? You give me your vision, right? Okay. So you don't have to know anything about how programming works. You just shoot me your vision, your expectation. So it's hey, I want to create a platform where whoever downloads our app can view videos after they've been recorded.
Okay.
Right. So I take that, right? I structure it like in my own layout. And then the code goes into that. Basically, I take it from there. Along the way, we do revisions, right? So you can see how things are working so far, right? Any changes you might want to make, like we do that on the fly.
Okay.
Again, it gets tested in like that sandbox environment to make sure before it goes live that there are no hiccups, right? So that would include a beta test, right? So you may, like, obviously you would receive it, but you may have I don't know, maybe 10 of your close friends and families that you want to try it too, right?
Okay.
So we rely on that beta test, go back to the sandbox, work out whatever.
Let me stop for a second. Mm-hmm. What's a beta test?
A beta test is so basically it's a functional app, right? Or website, functional app that you basically get to interact with before it goes live to the general public.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So we do that, make whatever revisions that are necessary until we have the finalized product. And that's when you see it on a place like the App Store.
Okay. So someplace along the way, do you have to do like a storyboard or something like that before this all goes through?
Yeah, so the storyboard, after I get the vision of what the customer expects, I illustrate it on a storyboard. That's mainly for myself, the programmer, to figure out the logic behind what it is that they want and how I'm going to implement that. Okay,
so let me ask you this. I mean, I think you're the first person I'm going to ask this to. So, are you able to share your screen so that we can see one of your websites?
Yes, give me a second.
This is exciting, you guys. We've never had a live thing like this going on before. So he's going to show us one of his websites. I'm excited. I'm excited. I've had to get myself an app for BTI TV and for Divaville so that I can,
We could
do
do it.
some things. So while you bringing that up, we have a question. James says, what are the costs for these things?
So that's one I get a lot. Thing about it is, I'll give you this analogy. Let's say you go to someone who builds houses.
Yes.
You say, hey, I want a house. How much is it going to cost? They're going to come back with questions. There is no set price on the house. Do you want 5 bedrooms? Do you want a 1-car garage, a 2-car garage? It doesn't have to have a front yard, backyard. So it kind of depends. It varies, All right. I'll bring this one up.
What would you say the minimal would be? Because do they charge by the hour, or is it by whatever it is that you're trying to create?
So everyone does it different. Me, I tend to go off of overall, like how much time is going to go into it.
Okay. Okay, you guys, hold on, because it's coming. It's coming. Carol said it makes sense.
Right, exactly. Bear with me.
Okay. Now, the website that I saw today that you did for the jewelry, that was really nice. Really, really nice.
And one more. I'll show you a few.
Okay. Are you guys as excited as I am to see this right here firsthand? This is why you need websites and apps, you guys. This right here is the benefit of technology. That where he is and where I am, he can just click on and share his screen so that we can all see what's going on.
Right.
So this is something you just did?
Correct.
Okay, you guys, look at this. Nick, could you explain what you just did?
So basically, I'm just sharing my screen. Complicated to explain, but there's technology that works on the back end that allows she and I to bounce off of each other. But I don't know. Can they see this?
They can see it.
Okay, perfect. So like this is mine again. Nothing too complex, like on the outside, but basic setup and structure.
Nice and clean.
Right. So like some of the different services, like your app development, website design, SEO, different projects, like some of which I'm about to show.
Okay. I'm so excited.
So like here's the store from a couple of days ago.
Okay.
That I did.
This is nice.
All right, and so like her, for example, she needed the functionality built in to where people could place orders. And this looks the same, like whether you're on a desktop, a laptop, a smartphone. What a lot of programmers do that deal with web design is they'll code it to where it's responsive, right? To where it works on and looks good on any device that you're on. Another a life coach website.
Nice. Oh, nice.
And then restaurants, because those are always big.
Nice.
So yeah.
So okay, those were really, really nice websites. Okay, so now to do the websites, do you do those pretty much the same way that you do the app? You sit down, you have the conversation, you get the concept and everything?
Correct. And people that I meet with that feel froggy, like I'll even, thank you, James. I'll even invite them to, like, you don't have to be the best artist, but if they could do a rough draft of like where they want this, where they want that. And I basically, again, take that and bring it to fruition. So yeah, same process, whether for a website or an app.
Do you do the storyboards yourself?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Wow. And how hard is it to do the storyboard?
Not hard at all, actually. It's you're basically just, it's more of a reminder to the programmer, like, hey, this is the logic you need to follow, right? So you need to tell the computer to do it this way so you can get this intended result. So that's essentially what a storyboard is. And also it helps with the flow. So you understand how your design process is going to flow, or that application building is going to flow.
Technically, about how long does it take to build a website?
Depends on the complexity, right, of like what the customer is asking for. But let's see, the one I did for my mom, I think that one took like 2 days.
Oh, that's not bad.
Right.
So I'm in the process now of working on a commercial, and with the commercial, yeah, is with the commercial, it's going to have to be a storyboard. It's going to have to be drawn up after I come up with all of this right here. Right. So, what ideas would you give as far as setting up the storyboard? I know you said that it's just a reminder of what's going on. So technically, well, pretty much the way this commercial is going, it's going to be talking about one of my particular products, one of my particular shows, and exactly what it does and what it has to offer. So if you were going to do a storyboard, how would you script things?
Sure.
Yeah, how would you script things into that?
So with your particular example, you said it's on like a single product, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So of course, you're going to break down talking points. So I think you said like some of the things that it offers.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So like you're going to have like whatever, well, in your case, it wouldn't be, or I guess it could be like still images, right? Okay. So you would set up what images you like you think look best that you want incorporated into that commercial. Whatever footage you have, like you pick the best of that, and you break all those things down. So you separate it like, hey, all right, I have this, I have this, I have this. Okay, what is the first thing that the viewer is going to see as they're looking at this commercial? You may say, I really like this picture. This pops out. And hey, maybe I'll even take some of the things that it offers and attach it to this photo so they can see both at the same time. And it kind of works like that. So
now with this commercial that I'm working on, I've already broken it down. It's like maybe 7 to 8 different parts. Mm-hmm. So the first part that I have started with is getting attention. So when you look at to get attention, what do you see? I mean, what do you think that really like make people go, you know?
So me personally, and I actually employ this a lot with like projects that I work on. Mm-hmm. I'm big on psychology, so I'll pick specific colors like meant to trigger specific reactions. Okay. Right. So like a commercial, for example, like people's attention spans nowadays super short. You want to go with something that's going to captivate them, you know, okay. And hold that attention so they can watch the entirety of your commercial, right? Okay. So like same thing with websites or apps. You employ that same concept, right?
So what about as far as put branding? Well, this is James' question. Mm-hmm. About putting branding colors to the website.
Absolutely. A strong thing to do, right? Because you're remembered by people, remember your brand. You know what I mean? So you want to incorporate that like all throughout. So it serves as that constant visual reminder, right? So no matter where they see it, it's like, oh yeah, hey, I remember that. You know?
So even in the commercial, should you have your branding in the commercial also?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So now, like I said, I have these different parts. I'm just picking your brain because I have these different parts. So now, the matter of fact, I'll tell you what my first line is for the commercial. My first lines for the commercial is, what are you struggling with when it comes down to just being yourself?
I like that. That's good. That's a perfect example. Because it makes you think, right? You're gonna read that question or hear that question and think. You can't help but to think it, internally. So that's pretty smart.
So then with this, now I have to wrap around with images and pictures and things to grasp people's attention.
Correct.
Okay, so now I'm still picking your brain, So now that I have that, right, that line, okay, picture this with me. What are you struggling with when you're trying to just be yourself? Picture someone being like in a straitjacket, struggling, trying to get.
Yeah.
So you feel me?
Yeah, that's powerful imagery.
Now,
Exactly.
now you've done websites, you've done apps, programming, everything. So do you think something like that would grasp people's attention and make them go to the end to see what in the world is this crazy woman doing?
Yeah, the sheer like curiosity of a person, will drive them to do exactly that, to at least check it out, and then so they're already captivated by what you showed them.
Okay.
They go to search it out, right? Because like nowadays we expect there to be a website for everything,
Exactly.
right? And like a website is something you could utilize to reinforce that, so you further draw them in.
Okay.
You understand? Mm-hmm.
So my next thing is to identify the gap. When I say identify the gap, I'm saying to identify what's causing these issues or maybe even these struggles. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'm talking about now like different things, or I guess different things or different people that you would depend upon to help you to get past this right here. So again, we're still throwing images and pictures and stuff in there, right?
Yes.
Okay. So sound like we're on the right track. So then my next part, I told you I have parts to this thing right here because I've been studying it. So my next thing is to come up with a way to bridge that gap, to bring all of this together. So pretty much that's part of the concept to what I'm doing, but through the entire thing, am I going in the right direction step by step?
Absolutely. One thing you can add that would strengthen what you're trying to do more than anything is testimonials, because
Yes.
that's another part of our human nature. Like it's like, that might work, but maybe I won't try it yet. But if you have someone who's implemented, right,
Yeah.
or taken advantage of what it is that you offer, then they could say, hey, like it worked for this person, like I'll give it a shot.
So I do have testimonials and I do have call to actions. So I'm so happy that you came on. I'm so happy we got a chance to sit down to talk. I mean, you gave a lot of food for thought, and I hope to everybody that was listening, and I hope they got something out of this. So before we end this, what do you have to tell everybody out there about what it is that you do, whether it's doing apps or website, or how can they just get in contact with you?
So to get in contact with me, you can visit the website for people watching, blackprogramming.com. Another piece of advice I would give is to maybe shift, like for people with children, right? Like if they have teenagers or maybe someone considering college, like try and shift their mindset into doing this, right? Because something that's fascinating to me, right, is within the entire industry, last I checked, I think only 10% of Black people, right, like me, like you, make up the field. You know what I mean? And it's an underrepresentation simply due to people not going for it, right? It's not that you can't do it. It's not that it's like inherently difficult to do. It's just a lot of people just never give it a thought.
Yeah.
But I suggest that they do look into it, because we're already in like a technological age. We're only going to further and further and further, move towards technology. So it's better to get ahead of it, while it's early. Don't wait until it's too late.
Okay. Thank you so very much for coming on and being a part. I want to thank my live audience for coming in and listening just to see exactly, what this was all about. I got a lot out of it, a lot of help. I hope you guys did too. Thank you so very much. Until next week, you guys, take care. Good night.